Welcome to On Air with Russell of Hotels, where we talk about everything hospitality, from hotels to influencers and everything in between. We will feature guest interviews with hospitality professionals who will share their experiences. Your host, Russell Edmond, has spent over 25 years in the hospitality industry, beginning his career with Marriott International in hotel operations before moving into the sales arena and becoming a relationship building director of sales and marketing. Russell then went to the other side as a hospitality entrepreneur. He now consults in the hotel and meeting space, which includes being the CEO of Russell of Hotels Group. Did I mention he was a veggie foodie? Yes. Russell is always looking for good non-meat eats. Please welcome your host, Russell Edmond.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels. Now, as you can see, we have a guest here, right? I'm speechless, right? First of all, I'm speechless that he even had time to come on. But then during our little our pre-talk before the show, he let me know that he only has 30 minutes to be here. Okay, so we're going to try to get as much as we can in 30 minutes. But then he suggested this. I didn't suggest this. This is probably why he's Scott Eddy and I'm Russell Edmond. That he said that we'll do a teaser. So this is going to be like, we're going to do 30 minutes here, and then we're going to do another show, hopefully by the end of this week, on Instagram. We're going to do a live on Instagram for about an hour. And he agreed to do that already. But like I said, that's why he's Scott Eddy, and that's why I'm Russell Edmond. So anyway, but thank you guys so much for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels. We have a guest, as I said, Mr. Scott Eddy. I just want to do quick housekeeping notes. I know I only have a couple of minutes with him, but I just want to make sure you guys know we're live here on YouTube. If you don't subscribe to my channel, please subscribe to the channel. This is a podcast, so after the show's over, it becomes a podcast on wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, as well as this will be on LinkedIn, because of course LinkedIn is one of my favorite platforms, and this same video will be put on to LinkedIn. So, and I just want to welcome people. Mr. Lonnie Wolf in the house. Hey, Scott, let's have some fun. You know Lonnie? Everybody knows freaking Lonnie. Everybody knows Lonnie.
Lonnie's like 4 miles from me.
Okay, well then he should be there then. Okay, and then Mr. Dylan Beaumont. Dylan's the general manager at the Fairfield Inn in Eugene, Oregon, right down the street from University of Oregon. So, but thanks so much for being here as well, you two. And I don't know how interactive we're going to be today because Mr. Scott Eddy only has 30 minutes, but we're going to see what we can do. If you have questions or comments, please feel free.
3 minutes of 30.
I'm sorry.
So now
okay, Scott. Okay, thank you, Scott. I appreciate that, Scott. Thank you so much. Scott, okay, let's just get into it. Okay, now you're trying to be funny. Okay, so how we meet each other, Scott, because people think that you're just a guest here, Scott, but tell people how we met.
No, I mean, we met. So I lived in Europe and Asia for 17 years. And when I came back to the States, I was based in San Francisco. And we met when I was living in San Francisco in 2015. So, I mean, we've known each other for what, 7 years?
Yeah, 7 years. And the thing of it is that people don't know, or Scott and I were reminiscing a little while ago, that Travel Massive, which is basically a group of travel influencers, if you will, or travel planners, travel advisors, or whatever you want to call them, travel journalists. It's a group of them, and most major cities have one, and we have one here in Los Angeles. Scott Eddy, after meeting him in 2015, basically texted me one day, say, hey, bro, I'm in town. Why don't you come down to this restaurant in Beverly Hills? This is a text. So I met Scott maybe all in one time, and he says, why don't you meet me? And I met him at this restaurant. I can't remember, Scott's Seafood or something. I can't remember what it was, but some new place in Beverly Hills, and the rest is history. So he introduced me to other people, and we've been friends ever since. So we're not just people that happen to be I have a show and he happens to be on here. But no, Scott is actually a friend, and I have him in my phone. I mean, I can text him. I texted him a couple of weeks ago, say, hey, you want to do the show? And finally he agreed to do it. So so I guess we are real friends now. But anyway, okay, so real quick, his bio, TV host of the travel series Video Globetrotter the only travel show on Lifetime television. Travel expert, public speaker. I turned storytelling into ROI. That means return on investment for the world of tourism and hospitality. How do you do that, Scott?
Oh, it's not a one word. It's not a one sentence answer.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
there has to be strategy behind it. I mean, I get messages and emails and calls all the time saying, hey, that video that you did in Antarctica, in Alaska, in Kenya? We want that for our property, or we want that for our destination, or we want that for our cruise line. Let's do it. And I said, okay, but let's work backwards. What do you hope to accomplish from that one beautiful video? And they have no answer to that. People just think that one piece of beautiful content draws in ROI, and it doesn't work that way. You have to have a strategy. Now, it's a good thought process to have that as a piece of your strategy, but what are you doing leading up to it? What are you doing after that? How are you going to, what's the executional pieces with that strategy? It's not just about the beautiful piece of content.
exactly.
That's actually the easiest part of the whole thing.
Mm, it's the
Once you
story
have the right
behind that.
people, talented people to actually do it, but
Hmm.
how do you get there? And what are you
Wow.
going to do with it after?
Okay. Well, we're just gonna get bits and pieces from Scott today. So that's a teaser right there. That I like that. Now I've checked out your first season of Video Globetrotter. Great show. Thank you so much. I'm glad that. Well, like I said, people don't understand. Like I said, they see the finished product. They don't see the work, the hard work that you put in. Now, I met Scott some years ago, like you said, 2015, when we were working on a similar project with a small company that was a small startup, let's just say that. And he was brought in as basically content creator, someone that had a broad vision, a vision that other people did not have. And like I said, this was back in 2015. And it's funny, and I was just talking to Scott about this earlier. It's funny how things have come full circle. Those same people will be like, because I'm not going to say that they were not, they didn't understand the problem. I'll just say this. They didn't understand what Scott was trying to do back then. I didn't understand fully, but we damn sure understand now, because where he is now, Scott knew he was going to be there back in 2015, probably even before that. But where he is now, I mean, he's just still scratching the surface, because he still has a lot more to go. I know his goals are a lot bigger than what he's achieved so far. But just watching him has been great. I mean, just like I said, just to know that he's a friend, and all the things he's accomplished is great. Now, you made this comment, Scott. It said, if you're not taking advantage of the digital world, you're going to be left behind. And now, before you say what you're going to say on that, I don't say it in those words. That was very eloquently that you said that. But I say the same things, but not in those words, to hotel people, marketers and things like that, with people that call themselves marketers. But I don't think they understand that comment. Can you expound on that comment?
Well, truth be told, even though social media is starting to get mature, I mean, it's still not mature. It still only came out, like Twitter only came out in 2006. Instagram only came out in 2008. It's still in its infancy. It still is not matured. So most brands are still, and especially hotels, they're dinosaurs. They have no idea how to do it, what to do. They know society says I need to be on Facebook, needs to be on Instagram, need to have TikTok, need to be on LinkedIn. Okay, I'm on it. Now let me get to the real work. And that's exactly their mindset. That may not be what they say, but that's what they do, and that's what they think. So if you're a hotel and you're watching this, if you have a marketing person and they have 100 responsibilities, and one of those responsibilities is social media, you're a dinosaur. You're actually moving backwards. Now, you may not lose revenue today, but you're losing a little bit every day moving backwards. You're definitely not moving forward. Like if you don't have full-time social media people now in 2022, like first off, you're missing on organic growth on TikTok if you're not posting every day. And there's nobody who has 100 other job responsibilities is going to have time to post on TikTok every day. Who's replying to your comments? When I go to a property, not only am I, creating the content and engaging and whatnot, and, that's the easy part. I watch to see how long it takes for a brand to comment. Are they replying to me if I ask a question, or anybody else who, oh my God, I love that property. I've been thinking about going there for a long time. Why wouldn't the property comment on that and like bring the conversation into them? Those are the people that you want to capture. It's just little things, but you can't do that if you're not all in. You can't be all in if you have 100 other responsibilities. And I know, I get it, the pandemic and employees, and I understand, okay? COVID can only be an excuse for so long. We've moved on. Travel is booming. Deal with it. If you can't afford an employee, get an intern. If you can't afford that, work it out. Trade. Like, do something. But you have to work it out. It's too important. The world is not getting less digital. Like, we're not going backwards.
Yeah.
If anything, we're getting more and more like the Jetsons every day.
Yeah. Yep. Lonnie Wolf says, boom, Scott's spot on. Yes, dinosaurs, thank you. So yeah, no, I've been in these conversations, Scott, for years, and you get crickets, and I'm trying to do something that you think I was trying to reinvent the wheel, you know what I mean? Because people, they don't get it, they don't want to get it. I'm not saying every hotel person like that. Let me just back up for the people who are going to say, I'm not, and this is me saying this, Scott, not you. So,
because it's not everybody. It's not everybody.
It's not everybody.
Get it. Yeah. And I also know some people that hands are tied and they can't make a decision because the person over them won't let them make the right decision.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Yeah. Well, I think what's worse is they don't want to understand. They don't want to learn, so they can talk to that person that's over them, right? So they don't even want to hear what you have to say or me, what I have to say, so they can take it and intelligently have a conversation with their supervisor or whatever. But anyway, let me just, of course, I know Scott, I know what he's accomplished, but I'm gonna share some statistics with you, some numbers, if you will. Twitter followers, 624,000. IG followers, 306,000. TikTok, over 42,000. Some of the people he's worked with. He talked about working with brands and things like that. Some of the Marriott, Hilton, Lexus, Toyota, Visit California, Tourism Ecuador, Viking Cruises, Visit Florida, Fairmont Hotels and Resorts, St. Kitts, Waldorf Astoria, Ritz-Carlton, Windstar Cruises, Cunard, just to name a few. Now there was a whole list of stuff. I didn't get to half of the ones that were on your bio, but I mean these are companies and organizations. These are mostly travel brands that I mentioned, but he works with a lot of different brands out there. So I mean they listen to him. What can I say? I mean, so just based on that, based on being that's called being a brand ambassador, correct?
I mean, it's one of the things. So I was a brand ambassador for Lexus for a couple of years.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I do all sorts of things. Like if you back up, when I was in Asia, I was in Southeast Asia when social media came out. And I started what turned out to be the first digital agency in Southeast Asia. And we were the biggest for 5 years. And that's when all the crazy hotels were entering Bali. We built out their digital strategy. That's when all the Thai islands blew up. That's when Singapore blew up. Western casinos started to go into Macau. So it was really a place of right time, right place. And I was just fortunate. I started hiring a lot of very smart people from advertising agencies, and I just watched for 5 years. I didn't know anything about this industry. I came from investment banking. I did that for 10 years. So for me, it was just a fact of sitting back and watching people that were much smarter than me. And then after 5 years, after I knew what I was doing, I sold the agency and built up my personal brand. Then I
When you
started bouncing around, and I ended up living in 6 different countries for 17 years. But all those years, like there was no term personal brand. There was no term influencer. There was no exchanging a post for a hotel stay or a dinner. There was none of that. When I built my brand, I paid for everything. I was just building an audience, but I had no idea that it would actually turn into a business. I used it to get attention. And then with that attention, obviously you get attention to the right people. Then you turn that into business. However, I turned that into business. Sometimes it was a consulting deal. Sometimes it was a speaking gig. Sometimes, who knows? Just all sorts of things. But yeah, I just made it work. It wasn't until I came back to the States, that's when the whole influencer thing and the TV show and personal brand, that's when all that happened.
when did you think you would say, I can make a living doing this? When did that hit? When did that light bulb come on? I mean, like after one particular thing that you worked on, or
So I had an idea in 2014, the year before I came back, just because things were really starting to get like out of control. Social was so ridiculous. Um, but when I got back, I was only in San Francisco for about 11 months, and then I came back to South Florida where I grew up. And I think I was here for about a year. So I would say the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, I really knew that, okay, like this could be not only a job, not only a career, but it could be like massive. Um, and now I just know, I mean, I don't care if it's hospitality, I don't care if it's tourism, whatever it is, I'm in complete control because I have the audience under my personal brand. It's not under a company name. It's not under, like I have a lot of friends because I built my whole brand on Twitter. I have a lot of friends in the news industry. So they're news anchors, they're reporters, whatnot. But there's a huge thing right now because all these big anchors are with these stations, and it's literally in their contract that they can't leave with their social media. So sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. So it's like, it's a big deal to own your own platforms. And I urge everybody, listen, everybody doesn't want to be active on social, and that's okay. But understand what the opportunity is. You don't always have to have your face out there. You don't always have to have your face in front of your phone. Like, you don't have to. I should put my face out there even more. It's not out there. I'd rather show a beautiful drone video. I'd rather show, whatever, what I'm eating or whatever, like a hotel room. But I get 10 times the engagement when my face is in it.
yeah, no, I got you.
All about humanizing your brand, showing that you're a real person, that people can reach out and touch you.
Humanizing the brand. I like that.
It's an
I
important
like
thing.
that. I like that because you know what?
There was a study done in Silicon Valley where they did a study of 5,000 businesses across the US. And there was a study whether you have a transparent CEO that's active on social media or nobody ever sees the guy's face and he doesn't do one post ever. And the guy who showed his face, those companies were 3 times as successful.
Wow.
Think about it. Apple, Steve Jobs,
Yeah.
Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. Like him or hate him,
Exactly.
they're human brands.
Yes.
People have someone to love. People have someone to hate. People have someone to talk shit about. Whatever it is,
Yes. Yes.
that's the reality.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That is, you know what? It's funny you should say that because I was giving someone some advice, and this was a hotel general manager, director of sales and marketing, whatever. I said, what you should do is start posting things, meaning they need to see that, who's that person behind the marketing or whatever it is. They need to see you. And it's funny how many general managers, director of sales and marketing don't want to show their face. They're like, oh no, that's for someone else to do that. That's for someone else to do that. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I said, no, I kind of get it. Well, no, I don't. As a salesperson, you need to be out. You need to be visual. They need to know who the heck they're doing business with. Okay, you can't do business with just a video. You're going to do business with somebody, the person behind who's doing the video. So one thing that I learned from you, Scott, is that I need for in order for me to be Russell of Hotels, I need to show who the heck I am and what I'm doing, right? So it's not like it's every posting that I post myself, but I do this show, I do lives, I do things that support the postings, for either I'm doing it for a hotel, doing it for my own brand or whatever. But every now and then you do have to show yourself. I'm not saying that has to be the end all be all, but like you said, I mean, you just gave a great example of a study that was done. And if you just, and no, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, Steve Jobs Apple was big because of Steve Jobs, because of him and because of his vision and because he wanted to be seen. Maybe it was vain. I don't know. Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, I watched Social Network like 100 times because of what that stood for, what it stands for. Like you said, like him or not like him, it doesn't matter. I love the story, and they knew what they had, and they knew they needed to be visual, and they needed to be seen to get their message across. So, wow, that's some powerful stuff. For like 21 minutes, we got some powerful stuff here, Scott. Okay, so just real quick. So okay, so you didn't have experience in this social media thing at all. You weren't a marketer. You came from investment banking, and you just saw an opportunity because you started traveling. From what I understand, you started traveling and then started taking photos and started posting those photos on Twitter and things like that. Is that how you started getting some traction?
No, you couldn't post photos the first few years of Twitter. You could just
Really?
yeah. Photos came a few years after, and then videos only came a few years ago. I still meet people every day, and I'm like, why aren't you using Twitter more? And they're like, yeah, I can't do videos. And I'm like, you can do videos for like 3 years now. People don't pay attention. Yeah, I mean, I joined Twitter very early just because I was an expat living in Southeast Asia, and that's how you got your news.
Okay.
There was no Facebook news feed. There was no apps for, all the different news. There was none of that when Twitter first came out. You got your news on Twitter. And because when Google got big and their search feature really highlighted tweets because that's where they got their news, my SEO game in the social media world was huge because I was tweeting 20, 30 times a day.
Wow. Okay.
So I still tweet every single day, just because I have a big audience on there, but more so because it's good for my personal brand as well.
Yeah. No,
and at tremendous people. I mean, listen, we're sitting here, you and me are friends because of Twitter.
You're right.
Jason reached out to me when I was living in Bangkok on Twitter, and that's how we connected. And he's like, hey, you want to jump on Skype? Like, I'm going to sound like a real dinosaur. Skype? We jumped on Skype, and I was on a plane from Bangkok to San Francisco within 72 hours.
That's crazy. That is, I mean, but people don't understand. Not everybody gets it, Scott. Everybody needs to get it because
you know what? I stopped my first year and a half of owning the digital agency. I was still in salesman mode. Like, I was like, okay, I could turn any no into yes. Like investment banking, like I was trained by beasts. Like I could sell anything to anybody. So I was wasting a lot of time trying to turn no's into yeses that were never, ever even close to saying yes. So I stopped trying to convince people. Right then, I just turned around one day and I said, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to focus on being a magnet so people come at me, and then those people are ready. Those people are ready. Those people are on the border of saying yes, or they're already saying yes. These are the people you need to focus on. So now, somebody doesn't get it, I might make a comment, but I don't even waste my time. Don't even waste my time.
That makes sense. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe because, like you said, everybody's not going to do it. Everybody's not going to understand it. Everybody's not going to jump on board.
It will one day, but it's going to be too late. Like if you jump on Instagram right now, right? How much are you going to grow? You can't grow on Instagram anymore.
No,
It's hard.
yeah,
It's hard unless you go viral or something happens or you're in a movie or whatever it is. Like it's hard. So, it's extremely, extremely difficult. But there's organic traffic on Twitter. Who's using it? Or on TikTok? Who's using it? There has been organic traffic on TikTok for a year and a half.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, let me just ask you this real quick, because we had 4 minutes left with Scott Eddy, and I'm looking at the clock. What is your preferred? Is Twitter still your preferred social media platform?
Listen, I am super active every day on every platform, except for YouTube, which I need to get more active. It's just that's a full-time job. It's just a whole different beast. But I'm very active on Facebook, as you know, we're friends. I'm very active on Twitter, very active on Instagram. Instagram stories, I would probably say I'm most active on, just because, I'll do 20 in a day. Instagram stories is about as real time, my life in real time as it gets.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm I'm still working on the stories part, but I don't put all my eggs in one basket. Let's just put it like that. I think I used to, but I think, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of stuff, I look at the people that I follow, that I'm friends with, i.e. Scott Eddy and, Kat Von D, people like that. And I see that they don't discriminate against all the other platforms. They spread the wealth, or they spread the love. And I want to make sure I do the same thing, because it's working, right? It's working for you guys. So if it's working for them, then you know what, I'm at least try it and see what's going on. But yeah, so no, I learned a lot from you, Scott. I do appreciate everything, all the knowledge. I appreciate. And when he says he posts every single day, several times, he posts, all the time. He's having conversations. If he's not on the live, you're on the live yesterday. You're in the background, but you were there. It was visit Delray Beach. Yes, you were. I can't think of the young lady that does this show. She was doing like a live. Yes, yes. You were in the background. I was like, that's Scott, because I know Carrie. Is Carrie still with Delray Beach?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Make sure if you see him, make sure you tell him I said hello, because I met him because of social media. I met him here in Hermosa Beach. He invites me to lunch, and we talk about Delray Beach and what I do and all that stuff. Your name came up in conversation. He goes, "You know Scott Eddy?" I said, "Yeah, I know Scott Eddy." And it's just one of those things. But we only have 2 minutes left with Scott Eddy. But I just want to thank you so much for coming on, agreeing to come on. I know you're a busy guy. Just real quick, where are you going in the next? You said on Monday you're leaving. Where are you going on Monday?
On Monday, I am flying to London for 3 nights, and then I leave out of London and I do a 2-week cruise all around the coast of Ireland, both north and south, and in Dublin, and then I fly directly to Vancouver and do 10 days around Alaska.
Wow. And this is, how many cruises have you done?
So this will be 93 and 94.
Do you enjoy them though? I'm just. Do you really enjoy the cruises? You like being on the water?
I don't say yes to a trip just for money. I only say yes if I want to have fun.
Okay, so you do enjoy cruises, because I'm just. Yeah,
I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, which used to be the cruise capital of the world. So.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, you know what? We're done. 1:30 is it? I promise you 1:30. You got 1:30. Thank you so much, Scott Eddy, for coming on. I do appreciate it. And we'll come up with a time where we can do a quick live on Instagram sometime this week. If you can just shoot me a couple times that you're available. If you can do that, that'd be great. All right. But you take care.
Take care, man.
And you too. Thanks again. But we're not gone yet. I didn't know. Well, I knew that he was gonna get off early. I didn't know until maybe right before the show. So I don't have anything else planned. No, let me see. But let's real quick on the conversation or the comments. I see Lonnie Wolf, vision, action, and consistency 365. Audience strong, opportunity strong. Thank you so much, Lonnie, for that comment. And then he also says, thanks, Scott. Delray Strong. I met Scott years ago through the MJ of Hotel. Bruce Jordan knows Scott. I didn't even know that. Same in housekeeping to have fun. Yes. So Scott is, when I say Scott is the real deal, he's the real deal. And one thing I didn't get a chance to say while he was on here, this goes back years. It isn't just recent stuff. He posts all the time. I probably would say for his own personal brand, and we will never know, what he posts for the brands that he works for, because of course it doesn't say Scott Eddy at the end of them, right? But I know for his own personal brand, I bet Scott posts 20 times a day, and that's no fabrication. That's not making up stuff. I've seen what he posts, and I've had conversation with him about why do you post, when should you post, those kind of things. And one thing about Scott, he will respond to every text message, DM, instant message, whatever you want to call them. He responds to everything. Okay, so it doesn't matter the time of day. He'll post something, and I've done this before. And I don't even know where he is in what part of the world he's in, but I can text him or comment on something, and almost not instantly, but within several minutes, he's responding back like, yeah, that was a great video, bro. Thanks for the good comment. He'll make comments about stuff all the time. So Scott and I, although I've known him for, I think it was 7, probably going on 8 years, this is probably, I don't know, the last time I actually had a conversation with him prior to today. It's probably been about a year, I would say. But like I said, just a great guy to know. I wouldn't just be saying that just because he's on my show. He agreed to be on the show. But no, I just know that the dude is busy. He knows what he's doing. When it comes down to being a travel expert, he is a travel expert. And in fact, he didn't leave it. He didn't give me this. I saw it on one of his posts, right? It had to do with travel tips, right? And something that he does every time he takes or goes on a trip somewhere. So I'm going to share those with you, right? And I think this was a live he was doing or something like that. It was definitely something video, but travel tips from Scott Eddy. It says, take photos of all important documents prior to trip. And those are like, itineraries, your luggage tags. Who would have thought about that, right? Take pictures of your luggage tags, your passport. Take pictures of your luggage. What happens if your luggage is damaged or is lost? If you have a photo of it in your phone, you can just say, hey, this is what it looks like. These are the tags. This is all that stuff. Never thought about that. Your passport, of course, credit cards, and you can have these in a Dropbox folder and all that stuff. You don't just have to have them just accessible to everybody on your phone. You can have them in your files somewhere within your phone. Your tickets, your confirmations from airlines. If you book any excursions, make sure you have that stuff too. So copies of all those documents can come in handy if you lost something, or maybe say you're doing an excursion and they forget or they lose your information. They didn't log it. Well, you have it right there, right? You got confirmation numbers, you have all that stuff. So that was a great tool, and I just got that a couple of days ago. I just happened to be looking at some things that he had posted and like, wow, this is some great information. What did Lonnie say? Lonnie says, check out my post tomorrow. Oh, yes, always respond. Very important. Dylan and I think we need to travel and hook up with Russell. Okay, well, let me know when you're coming to town, and we can definitely hook up. But yeah, it was funny how Scott and I met through a mutual friend or colleague by the name of Jason Wheel. He was working on a project, and they came to LA, and that's when I met Scott. So we just, had a conversation. We were talking, and you can tell then there was something, because I didn't really understand back then. I understood the social media game, but I didn't understand, I guess, the role of and he doesn't like to be called a travel influencer or whatever, social media influencer, but um, I'm just going to call Scott a globe trotter, okay? Because the guy travels around the world. That's the name of the show too, Video Globe Trotter, right? So we just say Scott's a globe trotter. He goes from place to place, basically promoting different, it can be travel brands, it can be whatever, it can be hotels, it can be, like I said, travel brands, it can be cars, because he did work with Lexus and Toyota. He did a lot of different things. I mean, I didn't get a chance to ask him about wine, because he's a big proponent of wine, or a wine connoisseur, if you will. He's always in Napa. When he comes to California, he's always at a Napa, either Napa or Sonoma vineyard. So I mean, when I say he's the truth, or he knows what he's doing, that Scott does. Dylan says, you've had some great guests lately with Nicole, Scott, Stephanie, Paula, Brandon, Paul, Lonnie, Michelle. Yes, I've been very blessed to have some. Thank you so much for that comment, Dylan. Yeah, I've had some great guests. The last 2 weeks have been fire. I had Miss Nicole last week from Visit Walnut Creek. She talked about Walnut Creek, or we talked about, the life of a director of sales and marketing, right? And going to trade shows and things like that. So those things are important, that these people are real people, right? They're real people doing some real things, some phenomenal things. So, but we all got issues. We all have, we got to deal with certain things, and that comes up, and life happens. But we never forget, what our foundation is. We never forget what we have to go back to eventually. So, I mean, Nicole, Scott, Stephanie, Paula, Brandon, Paul, Lonnie, Michelle are definitely results of that. So I do appreciate them coming on. I appreciate them, the friendship that we have built, and it's all because of what? What's the common denominator with my how I got to know these people? It's all social media. I would not know any of these people other than, let me see the list, other than Michelle, who I knew Michelle when I was still on property, right? When I was still a director of sales and marketing, and I believe she was a director of sales and marketing too, with a tourism board. Okay, that's how I know her, right? So with the exception of her, everyone else I know via social media. But now Michelle and our relationship has gotten bigger because of social media, because of things that she posts or I post, and she's been on the show and things like that. But like I said, most of the people that I meet these days, Lonnie, Dylan, it was all because of social media, my involvement in social media. So there you go. So if we're not involved in that, we need to networking wash hands. Dylan, you said it right there. So it's all about the networking, and you have to do it. I mean, like Scott said, people will do it, but it may be too late. Meaning, you get behind the 8 ball and you're like, well, I got to do it now. And then when you have to do things, you sometimes do things in haste. Okay. And maybe you don't get the results that you wanted. But if you guys ever want to meet Scott, reach Scott Eddy, I mean, you can, he didn't give me his email address, but you can always go through me, Russell at russellofhotels.com, and I'll make sure, if it's appropriate, get in touch with Scott, or at least give him your information. So, but yeah, we'll plan something later this week to do a live prior to him going on this world trip that he's going to go to, that he just mentioned. So yeah, so he was in Delray Beach yesterday, and I happened to follow. I follow a lot of travel brands, a lot of hotels, and Delray Beach was doing a live yesterday, and just so happened Scott Eddy's in the background. I'm like, that's Scott, right? So it's just funny. It's just funny. Consistency wins. Yes, be consistent. Continue to do that. Continue to do what you need to do. Right. Let's see. So. But anyway, I think I'm going to call it a show. This was great. Scott gave information in like 30 minutes that, I could just stop right there. I didn't even have to continue, right? But of course we did. But let me just get to the back or to the end of the show here. But yeah, so I always end the show with this. But once again, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Scott Eddy for being a guest on the show. He's the host of Lifetime Channel's Video Globetrotter. So that was season one. Season two should be coming up sometime in the future. But you can still go back, videoglobetrotter.com. You can check out videos. I checked them out on YouTube. They're on YouTube as well. So feel free to check that out. Eugene, Oregon Strong, Consistency Wins Network. Yes, there you go. Those are comments from two of my favorite people in the world that we have to meet, right? That's Dylan Beaumont and Lonnie Wolf. We got to meet somewhere. One's in Florida, one's in Oregon. I'm in California. We got to meet somewhere, right? So, and we will, right? We will. So, anyway, before we end the show, know your purpose. Know why you're doing what you do. Scott Eddy knows why he's doing what he's doing. Last week, Miss Nicole Hankton, she knows what she's doing. She knows why she's doing it. And I know why I'm doing this too. To bring people on the show that can add value to the show, right? And I think hopefully I've done that. And I appreciate people that still roll with me, that still listen to me, that still watch me, and they laugh at my jokes, right? So anyway, so know why you do what you do. Passion, either you have it or you don't. Didn't Nicole have passion? Did she show some passion for what she does for Visit Walnut Creek? I mean, that's just great. So I appreciate that. I appreciate when people come with the passion, what they do. Stephanie, everybody, Michelle, Dylan, Lonnie, they have passion for what they do. Brandon, I appreciate them coming on. So either you have it or you don't. And if you don't have passion for it, maybe you need to find something else to do. And number 3 is perseverance. Be consistent, continue to evolve. Don't give up and swerve when you need to. So, and Dylan said, or somebody said, be consistent and be consistent with your postings, right? If you don't post every day, and that's fine, come up with a plan, right? When are you going to post, things on social media? Is that once a day, once a week? Whatever that is, make sure you stay consistent to that. Stay true to that, okay? So, but anyway, I think that's it. I want to thank you guys so much for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels. And then let me just one more. I see 2 more comments. Lonnie Wolf says, another great show, Mr. Russell. Boom. Thank you so much, Lonnie. I appreciate that. Dylan says, Nicole is a fantastic ambassador for Walnut Creek and Cuba. You mean Puerto Rico? Nicole was in Puerto Rico. We talked at great length about how great Puerto Rico was, the food, the drinks, just a good time that she had. They were a great host, but she didn't lose sight that she was there for work, meaning no matter what she was involved in the day before, the next morning she was up and attending or being on time because there's meetings, there's not just meetings with the appointments that you have with in her case with meeting planners or whatever, but there's a breakfast that you need to be on time to, or dinners or lunches, and then they normally have guest speakers that you don't want to. That's disrespectful if you don't show up for the guest speaker. I mean, they flew those people in too. They paid for those people to come and to deliver a speech, and they want to make sure people are there, right? So you want to make sure, regardless what the destination is, how much fun you're having, how much the drinks are flowing or the food is flowing or whatever. Guess what? The next day you got to wake up and get your butt in those sessions or in those meetings, in the conference, at breakfast or whatever. So make sure. I've never missed any, and in all the years I've been doing this, I've never missed anything. I may have left early a little bit, okay, but I'm there on time, right? I'm not gonna lie and say, "Oh, just perfect." Oh, you did that? You left early? No, I've left early before, but of course, at least I show up on time. Make sure you're there. You can leave early, but show up on time, okay? Woo! That was a good one. So anyway, you guys take care. Thank you so much for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels. I do appreciate it. And look out if you follow me. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram because we're going to get Scott Eddie to do another. I don't know, maybe he said an hour. If he can give me another 30 minutes, I'll be good. So thank you guys so much. And remember on YouTube to subscribe to my channel. So excuse me, that was the wrong button. Sometimes that happens. But anyway, you guys have a great week, great day, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
Thank you for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels. Please tune in every Tuesday at 1 p.m. as we talk to other hospitality professionals. Your feedback is important to Russell. Feel free to email him at russell@russellofhotels.com with any questions or suggestions. Until next time, try not to be a person of success. Rather, become a person of great value.